The koalas are not an endangered species, but their habitat is. And it's been obvious that it has been endangered for many, many years. It's been mooted that some 10 years ago it was said that with the majority of our koalas on the eastern seaboard, if the current rate at that time of clearing and development continued, that in our children's time there'd be no koalas left on the eastern seaboard because their habitat would be gone. Places like Kangaroo Island, where they had an overflow of koalas, well, they left it too late to relocate them. They euthanized them and they were sterilising them to stop them from reproducing, and they should have arranged for more suitable trees to be grown as food trees and to create a home range for koalas and, indeed, the fauna.
What about koalas in our region? What's the situation like there?
It's the same story, same story. Over 40 years ago, when we first were making arrangements to acquire koalas, to relocate them to Narrandera, to start a koala colonies, we introduced a total of 19 altogether, from 1972 to 1974.
Where did those koalas come from?
The first 4 came from Tucky, up at Lismore, and they're a smaller breed up there. There's 3 breeds. There's a smaller one at the north of Australia. There's the middle-sized breed on the north coast of New South Wales, and the larger ones occur in Victoria. We got 10 from French's Island, and this was all in the days when the Fauna Protection Panel was in being. It later on became National Parks and Wildlife.
So how did those original 19 koalas go once they were introduced down here?
We lost a few early before they were acclimatised because of the heat. Of those first 4, there were three females and 1 male, and the male died on the Friday night. But fortunately, one of the females was pregnant, and it proved to be a male, so we kept carrying on.
What about, you were saying before that as well as habitat, it's also development and roads?
Yes.
What was the situation with the roads down here, and what did you guys do to try and combat that?
Well, it was proved here that the mating season was November. That's when they become active and moved about a lot. They've been known to travel 15 k's overnight in the mating season. And their favourite track when they leave the nature reserve and the Narrandera Common, where they exist, was to come along the northern bank of the Murrumbidgee River and travel west. And over a period of 2 years, we lost 27 koalas from roadkills on the Newell Highway, where they crossed the highway just on the northern side of the river bridge. So later on, we were able to gain finance to build a floppy top fence to stop them from crossing the highways, and it encourages them to go under the bridges.
And that's been successful?
A dramatic difference.
Great.
A dramatic improvement, yes.
So do you think it's about educating people as well to help the koalas?
Oh, only the people in power that are clearing country and removing trees.
Although koalas need pretty specific trees, don't they?
Well, yes. Now, in Victoria it's manna gums, but here it's the Camaldulensis. It's a river red gum. It's the tallest tree down here of the 5 gums we have on the river.
How do you keep track of the local koala population?
We have an annual head count each year, and it's usually 40 or 50 koalas. I think the record was about 72 koalas.
Have you done the head count for this year?
No, we were supposed to have one in April, but we were flooded out.
How do the floods affect the koalas?
Well, koalas, just on sundown, they'll come down out of a tree and they'll wander around on the ground and select a tree they're going to feed in overnight. Being nocturnal, they sleep nearly 18 hours a day. They're good swimmers, but not under those flood conditions with a strong current. It's an unknown quantity how many we've lost.
Yeah. How do you do a head count for koalas when they are so hard to see?
Well, we divide the area over there into 9 different areas.
Yeah.
So there's 9 different groups. Each one's got a leader, a group leader, with a map. And some pink ribbon. If you find a koala, you put pink ribbon around the trunk of the tree, so it's not counted twice, and that's it.
So do you think enough's being done, not only in Narrandera, but Australia-wide, to help the koala?
Well, other than the habitat, I think so.
Do you find that, you were saying before, the young kids get involved at head count, but do you think they're involved in the, survival of these native animals?
I'm not aware of that, no. There's no young volunteers anywhere that I know of.
Do you think it's going to take the images like we saw on Four Corners of the dead koalas to get people rallied?
Yes. Oh, yes, there'll be some movements.
If there was one thing that the Australian community could do to help koalas, what would you like it to be?
Oh, gosh, habitat. When we first started the meetings and negotiations to get koalas, we used to get visits from Fauna Protection Panel in Sydney, and one fellow told me on one occasion a week didn't go by that some irate housewife did not ring up complaining about a koala in her garden eating her flowers and shrubs. He's trespassing on my property, one woman said, and this bloke said, Madam, you're trespassing on his. That's always the first